what'd you guys end up doing with the trail class? Are you guys gonna? I saw that a post came out about that.
Don't know yet. It's still
Oh,
in the
still
air.
waiting.
Yeah, it's a good conversation.
It's going to be an interesting thing to get going. My least favorite part of this whole thing.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the X Rock Extreme podcast. My name is Tiffany Andrews, and we are presented by our amazing sponsors for our 2025 season: JM Rigging Supply, Mother's Off-Road Recovery, Radial Dynamics, 386 Fab, Wheeling for Warriors, and Kincaid Fabrication. Tonight, I have my co-host, Cord Reside.
What's happening?
And our guest tonight, Patrick Reardon, representing the 40 from Johnson Valley.
How's it going?
Another wonderful day in paradise.
So,
Yep. Good weather.
No.
so we're not lucky enough to have that California weather here on the East Coast, Patrick. So please don't rub it in.
Right.
We had snow yesterday. So Patrick,
Fun stuff.
when it comes to you representing the 40 with KOH, you competed in your first KOH ever this year. In two different events, completely different. You did Class 11, and then you did our event with X Rock. Two different dynamics. Can we kind of get an idea of how that all started?
Yeah, so I saw that you guys were putting on the Gold Rush event, and I hit up a few buddies and got Jake Bowen to actually go in with me. So we sponsored Jake for it as well, and he was down. So then I was like, all right, now I got to do it. So ended up going for that. And then the Class 11, we've been talking about it for years on building the Class 11, me and my dad, and finally got around to having one built and raced that, and that was just a hoot. We had so much fun, so many laughs. It was almost bicycled it.
Is the Class 11 one of the buggies?
Breaking up.
What's the class? What's that?
It's like a stock Volkswagen Bug.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yep.
A stock Volkswagen. Yeah. Yep.
Those things are cool.
So Sletton Engineering.
So when we were doing our qualifying event, you kind of got a lucky ticket for most to go towards the bottom of the pack, but you were also doing the qualifying for Class 11. So one of the other competitors switched with you. You kind of did your thing and ran off, and here you qualified second with our event.
So
go ahead.
It worked out great. Brandon with Sasquatch Motorsports, he's a buddy of mine, and then Alan, they do some awesome work over there. But I was telling him, I'm like, hey, I need to go, pretty close up. So he ended up switching with me so I can compete in X Rock and then go over to Class 11 after. So everything ended up working out perfect and was able to make both events. And thank you guys for being accommodating on that as well. That helped out a lot. Switching tickets with somebody.
Funny. You switched with Brandon, and Brandon, you qualified second, and Brandon qualified third. So he gave you that little notch. I don't know if it's luck or just skill or what, but it was kind of fun to watch how that was that played out for qualifying.
Yeah, you guys are breaking up every now and then. I'm losing both of you. Sorry, I missed the first part of that.
I was saying how when Brandon switched with you, he ended up qualifying third, like one step behind you. I said I wasn't sure if it was luck or skill or what.
Oh yeah, he's a great driver. He does all the Utah stuff, all the big trail wheeling in Utah. I think that was his first competition too, if I'm not mistaken.
What made you
So
guys want to
that was
step up to?
pretty cool.
What made you guys want to step up into competition world?
I've always wanted to do it. I actually built a Jesse Haynes single seat car. It's one of the older 3-link models, but built a single seat. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to compete in that. And then this competition rolled around and I'm like, well, my Caliph car, I don't think I could beat my Caliph car in the single seat yet. I don't have any, driving experience in the car. So I was like, I know my Caliph car. That's what I want to use. And I mean, shout out to Caliph for building the rad car. I mean, can't get much better than that. But so yeah, just always wanted to do it, and then finally got the courage to. And it was close to home. Most of the competitions are East Coast or Arizona or Utah.
Ain't gonna get much closer to home than that. That's for sure.
No, right in the backyard, so it worked out perfect, and it was actually a very cool course.
Have you guys been out there since?
Good.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, have you guys been out in that area since we all left?
I haven't. I had a couple buddies, Brad and Jeremy. They went out there, and then they kind of just messed around, and they found some cool stuff, they said, and had a good time. I think Dennis was with them too.
Cool.
But yeah, they played around there for a full day, so they had a good time.
So can we talk about how you even came about like getting into the desert racing and the rock crawling aspect of all this?
Sorry, lost you guys for a second.
Can we talk about how you got involved with the off-roading, with desert racing, with rock crawling?
Yeah, so shoot, Dad's been racing since I've been a kid. He was in a 12 car, 16 car, and then about when I was 10 or 12, I started racing with him, being his co-pilot. We started out and did one race in a class 16. Then we went to class 10, did a few races in that. Then class 1. Then we did 6100. And then we ended up getting another 6100 truck that I drove. So that was really fun, going from sitting passenger and then going to driving the truck was really fun. And then raced Nora 1000 quite a bit. We try to do that every year. We got a 4-seat or a 3-seat now Penhall that we race that in. And then yeah, I've always been into off-road, and ever since a kid we would go out to Johnson Valley, and my dad had an old 2004 LJ, and we would go do the hammer trails, jack and sledge. And before that he had an old Blazer. We would go run them in, and I just loved it ever since then. And I was saw Casey Curry's buggy come up for sale. One of his old, I think he got it. I don't know who he got it from, but it was a old Jimmy's 4800 car that he kind of turned into a pre-runner. And then I ended up buying that from him when I was about 19. And then ever since then, it was just full bore into rock crawling, and spiraled into a Caliph car, a Jesse Haynes car. Dad got another Jimmy's, so just the whole family of rock crawling now, which is really cool. That's awesome. For sure. And then that turned into going out to Johnson Valley. We'd always camp right next to Turkey Claw, and then I saw a property come up for sale, so I hit him up and I'm like, hey, there's a 40 acres for sale. It's right next to Laser Town and right at the entrance. I was like, we should think about getting that and maybe use it for year round for hanging out with the family and going wheeling. And then during King of the Hammers we could potentially try to recoup some of the cost and do some camping there. So it that's where it all started. Then it spiraled into big fence, bar, entrances, doing doing what we're doing today. But so it's been a ride for sure.
So how does
Definitely
that
super sweet.
feel of just like a random thought to your dad of, hey, we should just get this property for a family, to what it is and what it's become, especially during KOH?
Yeah, if you met or know my dad, nothing. He's full bore, so he can't leave anything stock. He always is doing something, never sits still. So wasn't completely shocked at it, but when he told me, "Oh yeah, we're gonna build this big metal fence around the thing and grade a bunch," and then the bar came up, I was a little bit shocked, but the whole family was kind of on board. So we ended up, my brother-in-law, he runs the bar and he puts in so much work out there. John, he's been just awesome. He's pretty much out there couple times a week working on miscellaneous stuff, running water lines around the whole property. Just everything, making it what it is today. So
Where do you
it's really cool to
how
have
fa-
people like that who help out.
how far away do you live in California from the 40 property?
So we're in Anaheim, so it's about, I would say, 2 hours without traffic, 2.5 to 3 hours with traffic, with the California traffic, but it's not too bad of a drive. We kind of have two options. We could either go up the 10 or the 15, so it makes things, if one way is messed up, we can always go the other way.
Yeah, I was just curious to how far, because if you guys bought the property and you're doing all this work to the property, how, and it didn't seem like you were too far away from it if that's you're there a couple times a week.
Sorry, you broke up at the end.
I said if you're it seemed like you were close enough because you're there 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit of a drive, that's for sure, but it's nice because we do construction, so that's our main gig. So we're able to, a lot of the improvements that we were able to do to the property were a little bit easier, I think, than most people going to do improvements. So we were able to get power there pretty easily and trenched a lot of that in. Um, so it's been easy, but it's definitely difficult for the drive for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, compared to us, a 52-hour drive.
Yeah, that's a ways out there for sure.
So with it, like the 40 goes from a piece of property to what it is today. I mean, and you guys have only had this property for only a few years. What are your outlooks? I'm sorry, I have a big rowdy just walking in. I got ADD for a second. What are your outlooks for all of this?
You know, um, it would be nice to open up for big weekends like Thanksgiving, New Year's, 4th of July, Halloween. We just got to kind of figure out with the licensing portion of it. But yeah, I mean, King of the Hammers has been huge. Dave's been awesome. He's super easy to work with. Was cool this year with the monster stage, bringing the monster stage over. That was a first. So it it was pretty busy once the once the music came. Not sure if you guys came by this year, but yeah, we'll see what plans we have for the future. I know there's talks of doing a metal building um, with like a kitchen and bar inside the building, and kind of making it a permanent place where we're not having to rent a tent each year, and have somewhere where people could get out of the weather, and try to make something where teams can come throughout the year and you know Polaris or whoever wants to come throughout the year can, hey, rent it out, and you have a place to work on your vehicles, and kind of like a home base. So got a few ideas, but we'll see what transpires. So
Hey, it's all about living the dream, man. That's awesome. I wish I was closer to Johnson Valley.
No,
You
we're
guys got to
like
come out more often. I know the drives will.
I've been out to King of the Hammers 7 times now. So I've made the trip 7 years.
That's pretty good.
And I've driven out
Have you
there
ever been on an off weekend?
No. Nope. Only been there for Hammers.
No.
No, that's not true. You were there for an off
Yeah,
weekend.
it's kind of cool
That
to
is
see on an
true.
off weekend because there's it's a
Ford and Hans went
big
out.
difference. I mean, you wouldn't even recognize it.
Yeah, no, she's right. I was out there with Hans a couple weeks. It was a couple weeks after Thanksgiving. To
It was
come
like the
look at
first
where
week
we're
of
going to put
December.
extra. Yeah, and it's barren wasteland. There's nobody else out there.
Yeah, there's a few people rock crawling, and other than that, it's
It's
pretty barren.
It is weird.
That's
It's
for
weird
sure.
to get it's weird to get your bearings because you're so used to like looking for Hammertown, and that giving like no matter which mountain you're on, you could see Hammertown, you know which way to go. Where when there's no Hammertown, you get on top of like Fisher Mountain, you're like, there should be a lot of people right there.
Yeah, you can get lost a lot easier out there. That's for sure. It's crazy. There's a lot of cool trails out there too towards Big Bear, and there's a lot of cool stuff. Cougar Buttes.
Yep, been out to
There's
Cougar.
a lot of good rock crawling out there. Yeah, they used to do the competitions back in the day out there, huh?
Yep, and the Masters course
In the
that's
early
up around the
2000s, I
backside.
think they used to do some rock crawling competitions.
Yep, and there's the Masters course that's up down like out by Remote Pit too, like out that direction.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
with
pretty
all
crazy.
this and you guys like doing, what was it like to have like your first actual rock crawling competition? Like, how did it feel competing when it's something that you just go out and have fun with most of the time?
Terrifying. It was walking the course. I did not know what I was gonna do, where I was gonna go. I was thank goodness for Alan Phoenix. He was there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, just go right here, go right here." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, so easy, huh?" Like the course was completely gnarly, and I started getting the foot shakes even, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was pretty surreal to have to, like, you don't have a choice. You have to do certain lines.
Nope. Did I freeze? I'm still moving in my camera. Okay, so I'm the only one that's not frozen. Interesting. I don't know what to do. Well, we're obviously having some mild difficulties here. If I'm not frozen and everybody else is. There's Tiffany back. Uh, Wait for it.
I'm guessing Patrick's having.
Yeah, I thought you froze too because all of a sudden you weren't in your screen, and I was like, all right, I know they were saying my phone was a little glitchy before, but I'm still seeing myself moving my camera. And I had someone
No,
text me saying that I wasn't frozen. I was like, oh, I guess I'm not frozen. I guess that's good.
I know Patrick was saying that, his service isn't the greatest in his shop. So hopefully it's just something little like that. It's pretty cool though. So typically every year we have Caliph show up at an event. And of course, the amazing Brett Dickey representing his cars. But then you had Patrick show up in a Caliph car, and it was first and second Caliph cars, and he was so stoked to have those two people come out and represent him. And it's pretty awesome to see because they definitely helped. If Caliph couldn't be there, at least he had some great representation.
Absolutely. Hopefully we get to see that Cowboy sometime this year.
So I'm going to take Patrick off.
Dum 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 dum. Try to get him to reload.
Yeah, because it's telling him he has good service. So hopefully he can log out, come back in, and see how that works.
Yeah, my phone said I had good service before when you guys were saying I was a little glitchy.
You not only was your wording getting frozen, it was your screen as well.
Yeah, so
Like
I said,
is.
there he
He
is.
You see the sun out there, blue skies. We have
Right?
dark skies here.
Not too bad.
under our artificial lighting.
Trying to find out where I got the best service. Says I got full
You
Wi-Fi.
have a pretty sweet shop there, Patrick.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a fun play shop. So,
We saw some toys up on the wall there.
yeah, some old 650 and XR 400.
Oh, that's a
pieces.
kicker. XR 400, that's a good unit.
Oh yeah, some fun, that's for sure.
They don't make them like they used to.
No, that's for sure. Shoot.
So when you kind of got logged off, Corda and I were talking about how, every year we have Caliph come out to at least one of our event. Our first year that we ended up putting on the events for $10,000 payouts, Caliph actually came out to West Virginia and New Hampshire and took it all. And
took all of our money.
And then we had Caliph come out last year, his chassis, and then Brett Dickey representing his chassis. And Brett took second. And then at King of the Hammers this year, both you and Brett qualified first and second. And it's pretty awesome to see, especially on the East Coast for all our events. It was mainly Jesse Haynes and a couple, or just one Caliph car and maybe one other builder. So it's awesome to see at King of the Hammers how we had, Sasquatch, we had Jesse, we had Iron Man, we had Caliph, and it just was, we had Jake's build and everything like that. And it's awesome to see all the different types of chassis out there at King of the Hammers.
Yeah, there's so many different different chassis and so many different builders, and it's cool to see which ones thrive better where, because one isn't one size fits all. um, with the comp cars, the own Dodgers, they do good in some places being a little bit narrower, and then with your bigger cars a little bit wider, they hit obstacles a little bit different, and end up getting through stuff a little bit easier than the skinnier cars. So it's interesting to see all the different cars, and even the overdrive, non-overdrive. There's a lot of different factors, it seems like, that play into it.
Well, one thing we're seeing shaken up on social media world is the tire game. That's another huge thing that we see. There's a lot of switching going around.
Yeah, it seems like I've always been a BFG guy, but it seems like there's a lot of switching going back and forth. That's for sure.
I'm interested to see how everybody is going to perform. Not just the tire itself, but just getting used to the different types of traction and everything like that. It makes everything so much more exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the tires. I don't know. I had Maxxis's before too, and those work really well as well. But I feel like all of them work best worn down, but probably not East Coast. I mean, out here in Sand Hollow, when your tires are bald, they seem to work the best. But I guess you need a little bit more tread on for the mud and stuff back there.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's kind of like a catch-22 ordeal. If you're on the rocks and you're staying on the rocks, we have a lot of like slab rocks and stuff, which are really smooth. Again, worn down beat BF goodies. It loves that kind of stuff. But when you're down in like the sandiness or like the clay mud, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what tire you have. You could have the best tire known to man. If you hit clay, you're on slicks.
Spinning.
It doesn't matter
Yep.
what you do. It just sticks to the tire and doesn't want to let go.
Yeah, for sure.
So Hans is saying it's the same deal back east. The lugs need to be short enough to not squirm and fold under themselves.
Yep. Makes sense.
But we did have, for the longest time, it was Cam Beasley that was the only one running Mickey Thompson's, and we see a lot of switching there. But we saw that was the only tire to catch last year at our West Virginia event. So there's new tires out from Mickey. So it's,
Yep. They're new 42s. My buddy Jeremy, he's been running those, and they seem to grip very well. He seems to like them. So
we're excited to see them in play. Hans also put up here about McKinley was talking about keeping track of manufacturing points, and he thinks it's a good start to start doing that, because there is, for the different courses, like you said, different terrain depending on the tighter cone dodging or just the environment itself with the chassis. It's interesting to see how just everything plays out in competition or just rec wheeling in general, depending on the terrain.
Yeah, for sure. I'm waiting to see the first competition where somebody's got tire warmers on right before, like they do in NASCAR
or F1 racing.
Yeah, F1. Yep. You got the tire warmers on before you go cross some rocks.
That'd be interesting.
But that makes a big difference too when your tires are warm.
Yeah.
So now, like, we're talking about all this different stuff about the rock crawling. What about with the desert racing side of things? What's your take and thoughts on that?
I love the desert racing. It's a good time. We're kind of pretty much stick to 1 or 2 races a year now. So we do Nora, is kind of like our always go-to. Ended up not doing it this year, unfortunately, but it's a 5-day race, and it's, It was
Wow.
6 days last year, but it was so much fun. You race from, it's kind of like a rally race. So each night you stop, you can work on your car, you have a good time, eat tacos, drink some beer, then prep your car for the next day and race from Ensenada all the way to Cabo. And it's just, I mean, the scenery down there is unbeatable, I think. And it's just a blast. And you get a bunch of different, like we raced last year, 4 different drivers. So it was cool. Everybody gets to drive and everybody's, 3 seats. Everybody's riding co-pilot and whoever's riding backseat. I feel bad for them, but it's definitely a good time doing the off-road racing.
What is your favorite class that you've ran in the desert racing so far?
6100, which is,
And that
I don't know what they call it, T2s, or
okay, so that
spec trophy truck.
track, yep.
But
I know a little.
yeah,
I know a
it's
little bit
definitely
about
this.
the desert stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely the smoothest and most enjoyable that I've raced in. That's for sure. But second to that, I would say Class 11. Um, I don't know. I can't say that I've had more fun in a race than the King of the Hammers Class 11 race. It was just a hoot. It was so much fun.
I was about
You
to
didn't
say
know
the
you
class.
could do
Being
gymnastics in a car doing those, cartwheels and everything.
yeah, I was surprised he saved it. I was like, oh, here we go. This one's gonna suck. But ended up saving it, and it's cool. You're banging, you're going so slow. You're able to see everybody around you and trying to cut people off and not let them pass. And so it just makes things kind of a whole different element to racing than, being in the wide open desert, dealing with dust and all that.
It's more of a driver's class per se. The way you just said that.
It's more of a,
He didn't hear what you said, Cord.
It's more of a driver's class. Like it's more driver and machine more than just being on your own run, like just trying to beat your own time.
yeah, that's for sure. Trying to hit the gears, not miss any gears. And we had a little bit of a transmission problem. It kept on popping out a second with the Class 11, so that was a little frustrating. But other than that, it ran great. Besides the end where the fueling issue, but yeah, it was. I mean, it was a ball. So much fun.
I'm assuming
Now
that's
you
one of the
do all
cheaper
this.
classes.
Go ahead.
That's one of the cheaper classes to get into for the desert racing is the Class 11, right?
I would say, yeah, you Class 11, Class 16, and Class 9 would be about the cheapest you can go. It was cool
Gotcha.
this year. The winner won a rolling chassis for the Class 11, so that was a cool prize.
That's awesome.
So you do all this competing with your father, right?
Say that again.
You do all this competing with your dad?
Yeah. So we do pretty much all the racing together. I ride co-pilot with him, but he doesn't like to ride co-pilot with me, unfortunately. So uh, one of my good friends, who's like a brother to me, Logan, he rides co-pilot with me when we're racing. But yeah, my dad he rode with me one race in Vegas to Reno, and it was watch out for that rock, watch out for that rock. It made me tired. But we do
So you have
everything together. Good.
Well, no, I was saying you have kids too. Do you think like you're going to pass this down and do it with your kids as well?
Oh, for sure. I already got my boy Jackson. He's on I got him a PW50, so he's already riding that around. And then that was a little too big for him to do without training wheels. He's 3, so I got him a little electric KTM, and he can touch his feet on that one. So he's ripping around. He actually just crashed today. We were riding around the neighborhood. But that's the plan, is to get him in my K-Lift car and set it up so where he could drive it maybe when he's 5 or 6, and I could ride co-pilot and teach him the ropes and try to get him into the sports too.
Awesome. That's super cool.
You'll have to get him a 3-wheeler.
Then my daughter, all she says is, yeah, that's for sure. Well, we got a couple here now, so we just picked it up for the 3-wheel race next year. But got to get my daughter into it as well. All she says is rock crawl, rock crawl, rock crawl, rock crawl. I take her out. We got a 4-seater. So me and my wife and 2 kids, we go out in there, and she just loves it. She's all about it. So it's pretty cool to see the kids loving it as well.
And we love seeing it too, because we see so many father-son teams working together in our sport, and it's awesome to see the head-to-head battles of a father-son relationship, but at the same time, the pride and joy of seeing the dads watching the kids succeed, and then the kids heckling the dad. We see it with every single father-son duo, but having the family there and supporting and getting into it, it makes everything so much more fun.
Yeah, for sure. The Dickies, you got the Melchners. It's really cool to see.
The Benners,
Brassininis.
they're all out there.
Yep, for sure.
It's really fun watching the kids come in, and they're like, when you first watch them, they're a little timid or whatever when they're first comp, and then like a year or so later, you watch them like beating up on their old man, and it's like, dang, look at this go. Grasshopper has now become the leader.
How the tides have turned. Exactly.
I mean, I think
it's pretty cool to see. It's cool.
I was just going to say, it's pretty neat to like watch them all grow over the years into the amazing drivers and competitors and just leaders that they are now. I mean, I don't think we've seen Dean Benner in like an actual driver's seat in a competition in years.
Nope.
Where you could barely even get his kid at 12 years old. He would be white knuckled in the driver's seat, shaking his dad off. Like, no, we're not doing this to you. I think Dean doesn't even look anymore to see the crazy stuff Danny does.
Yeah.
Danny
definitely a good confidence builder.
Danny hanging on the rope. No, you get in the car and do this. I don't want to do this.
Hey, I don't blame him after seeing that last one. Felt the same way.
No, it's awesome to see that. And, you know, we're hoping, like, for your sake, that we're going to see in a couple years, you know, like all these last names that we're saying, we're going to be hearing about your kids, and, you know, it's going to be more of the rock crawling scene for you and them.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait. And it's going to be a lot of fun. That's for sure.
So do you have any ambitions to start competing more often, or is this just like a KOH thing for rock crawling?
There's a few events I'd like to do. Like the Delta Classic, that looks pretty cool, more, you know, fun. A Trail Hero, the Trail Breaker, that always, you know, looks fun. I don't know. We'll see. I got to get my car back together. After X-Rock, I had a Johnny joint that exploded when I rolled, and it pushed into the trans pan, and the trans was leaking. So the motor and trans had to come, can't get the trans out without pulling the motor. So I had to pull both those out and get it fixed. And now it's going back together. So we should be back going soon, but hopefully next time I don't roll as much. So.
Well, that's kind of the name of the game, so good luck.
Riverside down. I wasn't too good at it last competition.
Hey, At the
Got to
end of the
keep my
day,
transmission from going into reverse.
that helps.
Yep. Yeah.
At the
I
end of the
think that
day,
was my problem on one of them.
that's what the cars are designed to do, man. They're designed to be able to go roll and have fun and, put it to the limit. And
Yeah,
I would have never
exactly.
pegged that. I would have never pegged that was your first comp ever.
Yep, first one ever. Watched a few of them, but competed, so it was cool. It was nice you guys came out, and wonderful event you guys put on, and it was wonderful. It was right in the backyard, and yeah, the King of Hammers event, and having you guys there was awesome.
We appreciate that.
Well, we're hoping to be there back next year. So we're talking about King of the Hammers. When you're doing two different types of style events there at King of the Hammers, how do you even prep for that?
I don't think he heard you.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of prep that went on, to be honest with you. You know, prep the car before and tried to prep the mind a little bit, but then I got out there and trying to, walk the course, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's nothing that I don't think can prep you for it. You just got to go out and do it. The desert racing, we ran a couple one pre-run lap, but it ended up not being the course that was ran because the pre-running course or the qualifying course got too messed up where they didn't think any class 11s would make it round. So that was kind of a last minute audible. We didn't know the second lap was when we found out, or third lap was when we found out that was the course we were in. We were like, oh, we're doing this loop, okay. So follow everybody else. But yeah, wasn't super prepped, that's for sure. Hopefully next year will be a little bit more prepped.
Awesome.
I'm just checking over my notes. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
I don't know. I think I covered all my notes, and I'm trying to figure out what else did I miss. Cord, do you have anything else?
Not off the very top of my head. I got the couple desert questions that I wanted to ask, and just I want to learn more about the desert stuff, but I haven't been able to, really sit down and have the time to follow it. So I just think it'd be cool to go do a run one time. But I got too many other toys.
We have to just go to Johnson Valley on an off weekend.
Maybe. Sounds like a plan to me.
I'm trying to figure out if Patrick's there or he's frozen. I think he's frozen.
Yeah.
His hand has not moved yet. All right. Well, while we're waiting to see if Patrick is frozen or not, I do want to go again and thank all our sponsors for the 2025 season with Jim Markham of JM Rigging, Cord Reside of Mother's Off-Road Recovery Motorsports, Eric Amato of Radial Dynamics, Jeremy Ingram of 386 Fab, Mark St. Germain of Wheeling for Warriors, and then Chris Kincaid of Kincaid Fabrication. Guys, they help support us so much to be able to do what we do, and we would not be able to put on these events for a $10,000 payout without them and their support. So big shout out to them, and we appreciate all their stuff. Welcome back, Patrick.
Thanks. Sorry.
It's okay. It's only what? 5:46 there? You're getting tired.
Yeah, not too bad. Kids, I'm normally in bed by 8 and trying to wake up 4:15. Come
And
outside,
he
maybe
still has
be a little
sunshine
better.
out there.
Yeah, a little bit cloudy, but not too bad.
It's just black
Still.
skies here, Patrick.
Yep. Can't see nothing.
Yeah, we got a little bit left. Another hour maybe. Time change is nice.
Yes, it has been very nice.
But no, Patrick, we really want to thank
it's crazy
you.
out here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I was just gonna say with getting back to the desert stuff out here, there's it's pretty crazy with all the different race promoters, and you got so many desert races going on, and it's hard, there's like a
Yeah, we
desert
don't.
race every weekend. So
Yeah, we don't have any desert, so it's kind of hard to desert race on the East Coast.
yeah,
Better
I can
chance
see
at a
that.
mud race.
Yep. Hey, there's some good mud bogs, I'm sure. Some hill climbing.
That's what Jersey's known for, is their mud bogging. Somehow I got in to
Heck
be a
yeah,
rock
it's
guy. I
pretty
don't know.
right. So far from it.
All right.
But no, Patrick, we do want to thank you for coming on and everything, taking the time out, even with the glitches. We really appreciate everything. And big shout out to you and your dad for taking something fun and having this just crazy idea to making what it is that you have created with the 40, with your property there in Johnson Valley, because it's amazing to see just in these few years of you guys having it, how much you have done. And then the stuff that you work with Dave and having the Monster Energy stage there this year. And we're really looking to see what else that you and your dad and the rest of your family put together. You said your dad's a no limits type of man, so we're pretty stoked to see what you guys are going to create.
Yeah, every year will be something different. I could promise that.
That'll be cool.
Little improvements here and there. So thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, and appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk and have a conversation.
If it wasn't for people like you, we wouldn't have anything to put on.
Well, you guys put on great events, I'll tell you that.
Well, hopefully we'll see you at another one, whether it's here on the East Coast. I mean, you got to come check out some mud crawling instead of just the rock crawling.
Mud crawling.
I mean,
Yeah,
every
for sure.
event we have, it rains at some point in time.
Once the kids get a little bit older, that's hopefully the goal. Get out there a little bit more and travel a little bit and go hit some other places.
Absolutely. You come to the East Coast, we'll have to show you around.
Sounds good to me.
But thank you guys again. Cord, thank you for all that you do for our sport, our series, supporting us. And thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back. I think we're going to do every other week from here on out, just for a little bit. And until we get closer to season. Unfortunately, I am very, very busy with the lovely word called tariffs and the firework world. It's a fun time. But thank you everybody for tuning in. We will be, still doing these lives just every other weekend for a little bit. And I know there are some questions about our next event and how it's going to be, and we will be announcing stuff very shortly. I did see some questions on Instagram. There's tiny little logistics that we're working out, and we will announce the final times and everything with that. Until then, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.